Hello guys, No Mercy here, and today we will be going through the zNec or zero damage neck or support neck for the viewers and LOD speed runs. First, I will go over the skills, and for left click we're using the Aura of Reality. What it does is it creates an aura around you within 15 yards. I think it's 15 yards. Yeah, 15 yards. And if you have gold or picker radio, the yard will be extended. And what it does, it kills enemy below 15% health. So if an enemy get in within 15 yards of you and have below 15% health, it just immediately dies. Then on our left click, I'm using corpse lanes with brittle torch. What it does, it stacks up. So every time a corpse lanes hit an enemy, it has a chance to be critical hit by 5% for 5 seconds. So that means if you stack, like if you hit it 10 times, it's 50% more chance to be critical hit, and if you hit it 20 times, it will be the 100% crit chance, and it also gives crit chance to your members. So this is actually the main thing why people want zNec in the team, because they can give up to 100% crit chance to mobs around them. Then on my Q or 1, I'm using Devour. And with the Cannibalize as the rune. What it does, when I'm consume a corpse, I restore 3% health. I will get more into the combo with this. And then on my 2 or W, I'm using Command Skeletons, and with the rune Enforcer, so it does not cost that much, because I'm running Achilles. No, I'm not. I'm running Achilles. Yeah, I'm running Achilles. In my chest, so I don't want to get below my 90% essence. So less essence on that. Then my blood rush, I'm using metabolism. I really don't recommend using potency, because you want to have a lot of mobility as zNec. So if you're running potency, you'll only have one rush, and you will experience that the damage dealers, both in viewers and LOD runs, is getting ahead of you. So metabolism for faster rushes, so you can get ahead of the damage dealers faster. Alright, and then we're using Land of the Dead as the 4th skill out of a 6th skill, sorry. For LOD runs, you want everything to be frozen, so you are using frozen lanes. So in the duration of the Land of the Dead, which is 10 seconds, everything will be frozen. What you else can do when you have Land of the Dead is you have all corpse skills can be used at will. So this is a corpse skills. You consume a corpse to give it a crit chance. So when your frozen lane is active, you can cast corpse lanes free. What else you can is you can pop Devour free, because consume a corpse will restore 10 essence and you will restore 3% life. So when your Land of the Dead is active, you have free corpse lanes and you have free Devour. I'll get more in the combo of these two as well. So this is for the rats or the LOD neck runs. For the viewer runs, you don't want everything to be frozen, because they use black hole and they want as many mobs to be gathered as a close area as possible to get the snowballing running. And if you're freezing it, the barb can't pull anything to you, and yeah, you don't want freeze. What else you can use? A lot of people like to shallow graves. What it does, if instead of you freezing everything, that every 10 enemies kills while your Land of the Dead is active, extends the duration by 1 second to a maximum of 2 seconds. It's not that much, so you can actually have up to to 12 seconds instead of 10 seconds. What I like to do is running invocation, I think it's called. So your essence is not, you have no essence. So when you're actually using command skeletons, it doesn't actually not cost essence. What that means, it's your chance of having, let me see where it is. Your chance of having your killers up in your chest is way often. So it depends. If you want the other 2 seconds, sometimes not even procs because you don't kill 10 enemies or 20 enemies within the duration of 10 seconds. So sometimes it's up, sometimes it's not. I really like the other one. I'm using this one, so I have free essence cost when the land is active. And for the zNec, your land should be active most of the time. I'll get into that in the playstyle. For our passive, no matter what you're playing, you're gonna play with this, because as the rats or the LEDs next, you want globes. Because they're using Wrath, the Wrath bracers. I can show you. Let me show you. It's this one. There he is. Reaper's Wraths. What it does is every time they're consuming a globe, they will get primary resource, and they use primary resource to spawn mages and so on. This is not the scene. I have a guide for the LED run for last season. It's almost the same, but you get the principle there. But you want the globe to get maximum resources to spawn more mages to deal more damage. So you want that in the LED runs, and in real runs, not everything is frozen, and so you can take damage, and you can use this as your main healing. I really don't recommend doing other stuff. I think people is running Fueled by Death for more movement speed as the viewers, or else they're using Standalone for more debuff. You can do that, but I will just use Life from Death to get more globes, to get more healing, because the bar is picking up all the globes. Then we're using Blood as Power. And what it does is after cumulatively losing 100% of your maximum life, all ability cooldowns are reduced by 20%. So that means when you actually have lost all your life, like you can regain life. You see I'm losing Blood Rush. You see I'm losing life, what I'm gaining it. If for a period of time I'm losing all my life, but it can be healed up again, so I have to use 1.9 bill life, and then my cooldown is reduced by 20%. But you cannot lose your life 2 times, so it's 4%. It's only 1 time per ability. So this is just more cooldown. Then we're using Final Service for cheat death. So if you're getting below like lethal damage, if you actually be dead, instead you're gonna kill all your skeletons or your minions, and you will heal 10% per minion. So it will be 70% of my life I will heal back, and it says 1 minute cooldown, so it can happen every 1 minute. And then we're using Eternal Torments for our aura. Like my frailty is lasts forever, so I'll tell that in playstyle. You leave elites and stuff like that when they are like 30% health or 25% health or 20% health, depending on how fast they're killing elites. So you can lead them, and when you're running as well, the trash will get aura'd, and you don't have to worry that you have to get back with the frailty to actually kill them faster. Alright, that was the skills, and let's talk about the gear. For our gear, we are using 2 pieces of Pestilence. So why are we using the 2-piece Pestilence? That is because the 2 set bonus will every time you consume a corpse, you fire a corpse at a random nearby enemy. So that means, as you remember, when we're popping Frost Line of the Dead, all corpse skills can be used at will. And when we are popping Devour, we consume a corpse. So we have 3 corpse when we live that is active. So we consume corpse with Devour, and then a free corpse lands. And because we're using the cold rune, the brittle touch rune, we will get a free brittle touch lands every time we Devour like this. Will be fired at a nearby enemy. So that means while you're popping Devour with Lane of the Dead, all nearby enemies will get increased critical hit chance. So while we are moving through the rift, all corpse you will see when I was showing the gameplay, corpse will, like you see the cold corpses coming up all around you. So you actually give crit around you when you're moving. And then for the other set bonus, we're using Captain Crimson's to actually just have more cooldown on resource cost. Resource cost is not that big deal, but we want the other cooldown. We're getting 20% cooldown from the Captain Crimson. Alright, for the rolls on the pistol and shoulders, you want 8 with armor and cooldown. On the shoulders you want attack speed, cooldown, and vitality. Actually, vitality, armor, attack speed, and cooldown will be the best for the gloves. For the pants, we're using the Crimsons, as I said. We're using int with armor. And then you want 2 sockets on it. It can be really tricky because it can roll 1 socket and 0 sockets. For our boots, we're using the Crimson again, and we're going with it with armor and movement speed. Or int with armor or res, or yeah, just int with armor is the most important stuff. Alright, for our helm, we're using Leroy's Crown, because we want the 100% increased effect on the gem. So we, instead of 12.5% cooldown, we will get 25% cooldown instead. And what we want on that is int with and life percent. Yes, and our killers are set to actually gain 50% damage reduction while you're above 90% primary resource. The primary resource is essence, so you want to get above 90% all the time, so you have reduced and mistaken. And that's why we're running Enforcer, and you can combine it with the Frost Land in rear runs with Invocation, so you make sure that you're staying above the 90% essence. And what you want of that is int with an armor. The belt can be changes. I like the anti-binding, especially in rear runs, because they're not frozen. So they will actually attack the mobs, and since if you are at the front of the group, they'll tend to attack you. So the 50% damage reduction from the anti-binding is a huge debuff for you, and it gets triggered by the aura of reality. So as soon as you enter the rift and one mob is getting hit by aura, you will get the 50% damage reduction. And what you want on that is int with life and armor. For Amulet, we use the Flavor of Time, because we want the pylon will last twice as long. I can't say that's... Yeah, every pylon is nice to have twice as long. Shield 2 minutes, speed 1 minute, or 2 minutes, sorry. Power is not used for you, but then we have all the channeling and so on. So you have them twice as long as they normally will last. And what you want that is attack speed and cooldown, and then socket. The other stuff is we will like armor on it and vitality. I think that's the best. And then we are using either Nemesis or Strong Arm. You should have Strong Arm at 30% on the secondary, like knockback will increase the damage to them by 30%. So if you doesn't have a Strong Arm at 30%, wear the Nemesis and cube the Strong Arms. And what you want to that is to have secondary knockback on hit. And that's because when we're wearing the Strong Arm, AoE knockbacks, as I said, 30% increased damage. So while we're moving, you want to have some kind of chance to actually hit the knockback on them to do the 30% increased damage. I will get that will, and we're using bricks as well on the ring, so there will be a lot of more knockbacks. But this knockback is referring while you're moving to the thresh, so you're killing more thresh while you move. And what you want that is vitality. This is actually a really bad roll, but you want vitality, armor, intelligence, and some other debuff, just some debuff stuff. For Oculus, we want 85% on the secondary, and then we want attack speed and cooldown. And then you can have any vitality, strength, or armor, or dex. For Obsidian, we want attack speed and cooldown, and then you want to roll at the crit chance away to get, so we have resource cost. Actually, I recommend to have a bit of bricks, and then cube the Obsidian. And then yes, at the third ring, so you are wearing the 2 best you have and cube the worst. We're using bricks Wrath for the third ring, and what it does is that uncursed enemies are pulled to the target location when a curse is applied to them. So that means that as we are wearing the aura, enemies that are not cursed will pull towards you. And why do we want them to get pulled towards you? Because then our strong arm procs on them. So that means while we are moving to a pack, even though they're frozen, they still suffer from a knockback. So when they're moved towards you, they will suffer 30% increased damage. So, and then you ask, why do you also want the 5%, 5.1% knockback on your offhand, or sorry, your bracers? As I mentioned, the aura is only 15 yards. You can see there's a small circle here where my mouse is running right now, and that's the 15 yards. So when we are moving, there will be trash all the way out where my flag is, and the corpse lanes can actually hit that. But your aura is not hitting those, so that means they will not get hit by Brick's Wrath, and they will not suffer from Strong Arm. So when you're hitting the mobs out here, and there's a 5.1% chance they will knock back, and that if that happens, the mobs outside while we're moving is taking 30% increased damage. So it's just a nice one to have. It's not necessarily you need to have that secondary, but it's a really nice, and just it cuts off the seconds in the last run. Alright, and then for our weapon, you can either there's two types of the setup. There is in the both setups you want to have the Messersmith. What it does, it reduces the remaining cooldown of one of your skills by 1 second when you slay an enemy. It doesn't have you to kill the enemy. It's just if any enemies dies around you in the same map, your skills is reduced by 1 second. And then the other one is the spear. This spear is when you're killing a demon, you have a chance to get a random shrine effect. The shrine effects can be the one you get from rifting and from bounties. You know, then you have the cooldown shrine, you have the attack speed shrine, you have the movement and pickup radius shrine, you have the defense shrines. That's some shrines, and they're just nice to have. I really say it's the best to have it in the LOD or red runs, because they can actually use the cooldown and the attack speed and the movement speed. It's a little bit different by the VR runs because they have to reset anyway, and they don't actually need the cooldown as much, but it's always nice to have. So what you want on the weapon is attack speed, cooldown, and resource cost, or attack speed, cooldown, or vitality. And you can just cube the worst of these two. So if you have a better Messersmith, you just wear that, and then you cube the spear, and vice versa. And the other setup is to cube the Messersmith, and then you're gonna run with the Endgorm, and then you're gonna run with the Lost Time. I don't think I have a lost time because I don't recommend. I don't like that setup because I always want the spear. Let me see if I have any lost time. No, I do not. But the lost time, maybe I can gamble one. Yeah, see, there we have the lost time. If you're wearing the lost time, I really recommend you having the lost time and in Gorham, because the lost time is your cold skill. As you remember, the corpse lands with the brittle torch is cold. When your cold skill gives you movement speed by up to 10% for 5 seconds, and that actually stacks up. So you can actually get 50% movement speed from this skill. So you're running Ingorm, and Ingorm, what it does, let me see, I have it right here. When you're killing lead pack, you will get 10% reduced cooldown. So again, it's more cooldown for you. It really depends. If you're troubling surviving, I recommend running Ingorm plus the lost time, because you will get two stats. Like you see, I have only one stat, but you can have int with cooldown on the offense, so it's more toughness. As the same goes with this one, you can have int attack speed and vitality, and you roll the damage range off. So yeah, it's really up to you how you feel about it. If you're dying a lot, I recommend going in with the lost time. If not, go to spear and Messersmith. All right. For the gems, in chest and pants and helm. For the helm, we use the cooldown. For the chest, we're using mixed up between strength, and you can also use the green ones, and then vitality. And then for our weapon, you can use Gem of Ease. If you're troubling surviving, I really recommend putting in a purple gem in, so you will get the 28k life per hit. But if you're running XP runs, people usually say go with XP gem. It's not that big of an XP buff, but it's in the long term. For our legendary gems, we're using the toxin gem because all enemies you poison. So that means every enemy you hit take 10% increased damage from all sources and deal 10% less damage. So it's both a damage buff for a team and a debuff for a team. For the other gem, we're using Gogok of Swiftness. What it does, the main thing you want is attack speed and the cooldown. So it stacks up to 15 times for every hit you does. So every corpse you hit on the enemy, you get 1 stack, and max up to 15 times. So you get 1% cooldown reduction per stack, and you get 1% attack speed. Furthermore, you get a dodge chance by 1.65 for this rank for 4 seconds. And yeah, they stack up to 15% time. So it's both attack speed and a cooldown, and a dodge a debuff for you. The last gem we're using is the Ice Blink. And what it does, it's just more crit chance, because when you're cold skill, as I said, the corpse lance is a cold skill. When the enemies are hit, they get chilled. And enemies you are chilled take 10% increased chance of critical hit. So it's more chance to get critical hit. Alright, for the cube, if you didn't know, for the ring slot, you either have Oculus, Obsidian, or Bricks. So you wear your best, cube your worst. For the what is called the armory slot, sorry, you are either using Nemesis or Strongarm. Same as the ring, wear your best, cube your worst. You want 30%, so if you don't have 30%, I really recommend cube Strongarms. For the weapon slot, using Messersmith. or the average spear if you want that combo, or Metalsmith if you're running the other one. Alright, I think that was pretty much the skills. So, what to do? I really recommend that you're macroing your Devour. Because you don't want to spam like this. If you're gonna run zNec for 10 hours in a row or something like that, you will get really annoyed. There's a trick where you can go to your key bindings, and then you see my action bar skill 1 has numpad 1, 2, 3, and 4, and etc. So what you can do is actually you want to have these two running all the time, because you want to have your command skeletons. Oh, I forgot to say that. Why you want command skeletons? It's because it's a resource spending skill. You see, it costs 25 essence. So that means your obsidian reduce the remaining cooldown of one of your skill by 1 second when you hit with a resource spending attack. This is a resource spending attack. So when you hit an enemy with that, boom, 1 second is going on one of your abilities on cooldown. So you want to have these two spamming all the time, like that. So what you can do, if you have this set up, you have to have your key 2, it says numpad 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what you're gonna do, if you're gonna press, you see mine is Q and W, or 1 or 2 on my secondary numpad. It's, you see, Q and W, 1 and 2 on numpad. You're gonna press down 1 and 2 on the numpad, and while you're holding them down, I'm still holding them down right now, I press the numlock. You see now, it's gonna pop Devour by itself. And you see, this skill requires a target, so it means it's popping my command skeletons. This means that you can run freely while it's still casting, so you don't have to spam them. So you can just pop your, and then you pop your lane. You see, I'm getting my health back, I'm spawning globes, I'm consuming corpses, and I'm not even touching my keyboard. So I really recommend doing that. And if you want to stop it, you just press the 2 buttons and press numlock again, and it stops. Then you want to start it before you enter the rift, the 2 buttons, and press numlock. You see it's running, you press the 2 buttons, hold them in, press numlock again, and it's off. In order to make this work, you have to have your force moves like this. This will not work if you keep clicking. If you're holding down your mouse, like I know some of you just hold the mouse, click, and hold it in. You see what happens if I go like this and moving, it's not popping. You see, let me just pop up the globes. When I pop my lane, you see it's not pressing the mouse. I have my macro running. You see, as soon as I'm stopping, it starts consuming corpses. So, but if you're actually mouse wheeling or holding any other button, like if you don't want to mouse wheel it, you can press it to C and hold down C like this. It will actually keep pausing. So you have to use your force move button. And this is for every time you're numpadding or macroing your skills like that. You have to use a force move, else this will not work. And that's why you see a lot of people having mouse wheel up and down as the macro, because it's easier and it will cast your numpad skills. Alright, so back to what you do. You want to spam these because this is when you have Devour spamming, the corpse lands is popping around the enemies, and you want to pop Land of the Dead as soon as this out or on cooldown, depending on, you can also macro that, so you have 1, 2, and 4 on your numpad at the same time, so we'll pop it at cooldown immediately. Now is the really important thing, so guys, listen to this. You want to be ahead of the team. You don't want to be 10 miles ahead. You want to be 1 or 2 screens ahead of your team. So the 2 damage dealers, either if it's 2 Vyrs or 2 LOD or Rats, they want to run together with the Barb. The Barb all the other teams may not get ahead of you, especially in rats. If the rats got ahead of you, they're not frozen, the enemies, and they will die. So you always want to be 2 screens ahead. And what your job is to actually scout the elites. Because as sooner you arrive at the elite, the faster they will get 100% critical hit. So let's say this peddler here is the elite, and the team is all the way down here. You want to be at this distance. You see, this is 1 screen away. You can be even further. So what you want to do is you see the elite. As soon as you see the elite, guys, this is so important. If you have the corpse liner, right click it. You have to pop the corpse line on the elite. And yeah, I know it pops at random. But when you're actually popping the corpse lines on the elite, it will get, because you have so much attack speed, I will not get over the breakpoints, just roll as much attack speed as you can. There are some breakpoints for it, how much you want to actually pop it faster. Just roll as much attack speed. It will get around 100% critical hit chance on the elite. So, as I said, they're like 1 or 2 screens ahead of you. So when they arrive, you already have 100% crit chance on the elite. So that means, if you're a good zNec, if you're the best zNec, the team is only supposed to have 20% or something on the critical chance. They don't need that much, because when they arrive to the elite, you have already given 100% critical hit chance. So guys, this is so important. When you arrive at the elite, right click in it and press your corpse lines. You want to get the 100% critical hit chance. I can't say this enough because this is the most common mistake that zNec does, is not to give critical hit chance on the elites. I'm not saying you should pop it on trash, because trash is just, it will get killed because they're usually running hexing pains, and it's just pop your corpse lanes on elites. That's the most important stuff. A very good zNec knows the maps. You have to know all the maps, because as I said, you have to be 1 or 2 screens in front of the team. So you don't want to run to dead ends, it's a waste of time. You don't want to run in circles, it's a waste of time. You want to run as much in a straight line to the exit, getting most of the elites running. So you want to jump from one elite to another elite. And then you have a question, when do we have to elite if you have to be when do you have to leave the elite if you have to be 1 or 2 screens ahead of the team? If you're playing with a really good team that know how to aim on the elites, I will say leave it at 25% health, around 25% health. So you see you're standing here and this is the elite, and you see boom, the health bar is running 25%, you leave it. You go running 2 screens around of their team and you scout for the elite. Scout for the elite and pop lands on it. Oh, boom, down to 25%. You could go find another elite. If some trouble's coming on, you can always turn on. You see this, they keep standing there. You can come back and give crit again, and the lane and the globes if they're not killing it. But usually 25 to 20% should be enough, even with bad people. So you don't want to stand here all the way to and then move when it dies, because as soon as it died, boom, everyone is moving on, and when they're moving on, they're gonna be with you, but you want to be ahead of them, so leave it at 25% health. So the 2 most important stuff. 3, let's say 3. Be 1 or 2 screens ahead of the team. Give crit on the elites with corpse lanes. Leave the elites at 20 to 25% health depending on the team. And I think I got most of it. Let me just go through. I recommend having about above 75% cooldown if you're running this. You can go all the way up to 70 if you're running the offhand with the 8% more cooldown. I recommend having about above 2k risk in all. You get more risk by using Paragon's intelligence. And for armor, yeah, you want around 80% damage reduction, that's fine. Should be fine. I forgot the paragons. I hope you didn't skip it. So in defense, you want first armor, then life, then all risk, then life regeneration. Utility, you only want resource cost and life on hit. No area damage, no cooldown find, cost lags, you don't want that. Then you want cooldown reduction, then attack speed. The other two you can leave, you can have crit and crit damage, you can have whatever you want. You want full movement speed. Then you want to have the intelligence up to 2k plus on the all res. You see the intelligence increase all res by 1.6k, so you gain 1.6k in every resistance here. So around 2k above, and then you put the rest in vitality. And I recommend having about 2 billion health is enough. Of course, you have low Paragon. You can skip some of the intelligence, put more in vitality if you are getting one shots, but usually you should not. And I think that was it. If you want anything elaborated for the skills or the gear or the playtime, comment down below and I'll try explain it. And if you want anything explained in a new video, I can make a new video about it. And now I'll show just a 115 gameplay of the zNec. The zNec playstyle for the rats and the viewers is the same. The only difference is at the viewers start needs to stack up. But yeah, here goes the gameplay. Enjoy. Still have cows, so. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't think you need scourge for the rank 1. And I don't think the PK wants to die a lot during the rev because you will never have scourge up. Oh, I have cooldown, guys. No.
Yep, I can do.
No, BRB. As long as it doesn't spam cloud on you, you doesn't lose stacks. Alright. So if you're standing on the sank, you don't lose stacks or what? Shield pilot? Oh, come on, cooldown. Run it. Long as he doesn't spam clouds under you, you don't lose stacks. Alright, that's cool. What the pylon amulet is also nice during the revs, so, and we don't need faster boss kills anyway for like gem ups channeling.
Oh.
Hello.
Ja, bara nödvändigt. Jag kan inte löpa.
Frodo die. Ah, fucking
Jag ska se faktiskt den ligger direkt och kan we'll see what
I mean, the only thing is Conduit. Well, Conduit helps us a lot doing the map, like if we can kill another elite, and sometimes we can take the Conduit even though we have a lot of trash left, so... and a longer time for power is also nice. For like 1 minute power for some bosses is cool as well, and 1 minute speed is also good for striking.